In the brutal, high-speed world of thrash metal, few figures are as instantly recognizable or as crucial to the genre's evolution as Kerry King. With his shaved head, menacing sunglasses, tribal tattoos, and custom BC-rich guitars, King didn't just help build Slayer's sonic identity, he embodied it. As the band's co-founder and primary riff machine, King carved a legacy defined by blistering speed, crushing precision, and relentless aggression. This long-form tribute explores Kerry King's indelible mark on Slayer during their classic years, his role in shaping the band's sound, his dynamic with fellow guitarist Jeff Hanneman, his contributions to the genre, and how he became one of the most respected and feared riff writers in metal history. Genesis of a Guitar Titan. Born June 3, 1964, in Los Angeles, California, Kerry King was raised in a household with a strong emphasis on music. His father was an aircraft parts inspector who also dabbled in country music, while Kerry himself quickly gravitated toward hard rock and heavy metal. His early influences included Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Venom, bands that fused aggression with precision, laying the groundwork for what would become thrash. King began playing guitar in his early teens and developed a reputation for speed and technicality. In 1981, fate intervened when he auditioned for a band with a young guitarist named Jeff Hanneman. The chemistry was instant. Together, they formed Slayer, recruiting Tom Araya on bass and vocals and Dave Lombardo on drums. The blueprint was simple: play faster, darker, and louder than anyone else. For King, it was an ideology, not just a musical style. Show No Mercy, 1983. The rise begins. Slayer's debut album, Show No Mercy, was released independently on Metal Blade Records. Though the production was rough and the budget small, the ambition was immense. Kerry King's guitar work on this record was foundational, raw, chaotic, and explosive. Tracks like The Antichrist and Evil Has No Boundaries featured King's aggressive tremolo picking and dive bomb solos, marking him as a player who prioritized feel and fury over technical polish. He and Hanneman began to establish their signature dual guitar approach, King with the chaotic leads, Hanneman with the eerie, melodic undertones. Even at this early stage, King's riffs were central to Slayer's identity. He had a knack for creating muscular, adrenaline-pumping patterns that were both simple and devastating. Hell Awaits, 1985, Building the Darkness. With Hell Awaits, King and Slayer stepped deeper into the abyss. The compositions grew more complex, the atmosphere more sinister. King's riffing became more serpentine, crafting labyrinthine structures that created a sense of impending doom. The title track, with its haunting intro and shifting tempos, highlighted King's evolution as a composer. He wasn't just writing fast riffs, he was building sonic narratives. Songs like Kill Again and Necrophiliac show his increasing comfort with tempo changes, layering, and riff variations. This album also marked the beginning of Slayer's more pronounced satanic and horror-themed imagery, elements that King embraced wholeheartedly. His aesthetic began to mirror the music, unapologetically aggressive and deliberately confrontational. Rain and Blood, 1986, the pinnacle of thrash. Rain and Blood is widely considered the definitive thrash metal album, and much of its power comes from King's iconic riff work. Produced by Rick Rubin, the album distilled Slayer's chaos into razor-sharp focus. At a mere 28 minutes, it's an unrelenting onslaught of precision and rage. King's riffs on songs like Angel of Death, Piece by Piece, and Post-Mortem are genre-defining. They are tight, muscular, and brutally efficient. His solos, often chaotic flurries of squeals and dives, became trademarks of his style. While Jeff Hanneman contributed many of the lyrics and riffs, it was King's relentless energy and tone that gave Rain and Blood its violent heartbeat. No one had heard anything like this in 1986. The speed, aggression, and sonic precision raised the bar for all metal bands to come. South of Heaven, 1988, Control Power. Instead of repeating Rain and Blood, Slayer made a bold move with South of Heaven, slowing down the tempo and allowing atmosphere and menace to take center stage. Kerry King initially resisted this direction, but later admitted it was a necessary evolution. The title track, Silent Scream, and Mandatory Suicide feature some of King's most haunting riff work. He proved that he didn't need speed to intimidate. He could create dread with space and structure. This album allowed King to stretch as a composer, incorporating mid-tempo grooves, harmonic dissonance, and a more deliberate pacing. King's guitar tone on this album became darker and more refined, a perfect complement to Slayer's growing lyrical sophistication. His rhythmic instincts, honed over years of thrashing, translated into riffs that were as hypnotic as they were heavy. Seasons in the Abyss, 1990 mastery achieved. By the time Slayer released Seasons in the Abyss, Kerry King had entered the peak of his creative powers. The album blended the ferocity of Rain and Blood with the atmosphere of South of Heaven, showcasing King's full arsenal of skills. War Ensemble, the album's blistering opener, is a masterclass in thrash riffing. King's relentless patterns drive the song with military precision. On Dead Skin Mask, he slows things down, building eerie tension with clean arpeggios before erupting into crushing distortion. The title track is one of Slayer's most iconic compositions. Its central riff is haunting, simple, and unforgettable. King's sense of dynamic contrast and pacing was in full bloom. He was no longer just a riff writer. He was a master of songcraft. The King-Hanneman axis. One of the most important dynamics in Slayer was the partnership, an occasional rivalry, between Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman. While they shared songwriting duties, their styles differed. Hanneman was more melodic and experimental, while King was raw, technical, and percussive. This contrast created a perfect balance. King's riffs brought urgency and aggression. Hanneman's added texture and nuance. Their solos often felt like duels, each trying to out-chaos the other. But it was this tension that gave Slayer its edge. King once described their relationship as push and pull, competitive yet deeply respectful. Together, they created a body of work that became the foundation of modern extreme metal. Lyrical contributions and philosophy. Though not Slayer's primary lyricist during the classic years, King contributed heavily to the band's thematic direction. He had a particular interest in anti-religious and anti-authoritarian themes, writing lyrics that challenge dogma and provoke thought. Songs like Disciple, from a later era, show his direct, confrontational writing style. Even during the classic years, his worldview bled into the music, especially in the aggression and conviction of his playing. For King, thrash was a weapon. Music wasn't just entertainment. It was an outlet for frustration, rebellion, and catharsis. He brought that intensity to every riff he wrote. Visual identity and persona. Kerry King's image became as iconic as his playing. With his long goatee, spiked wristbands, and imposing stage presence, he embodied the look of thrash metal. His custom guitars, often adorned with pentagrams or tribal designs, became extensions of his personality. King never shied away from controversy. He spoke his mind in interviews, challenged other bands, and took pride in Slayer's outsider status. While some saw him as abrasive, others admired his honesty and unwavering commitment to metal. On stage, he was a blur of motion, thrashing, snarling, and stomping across the stage with unrelenting fury. His live tone was crushing, his energy boundless. Fans didn't just hear the riffs, they felt them. Influence and legacy. Kerry King's influence on metal guitar playing is incalculable. His riffing style, built on tremolo picking, chromatic runs, and syncopated chugs, has been adopted and adapted by generations of musicians. Bands like Pantera, Lamb of God, Machine Head, and countless death and black metal acts owe a debt to King's innovations. His emphasis on intensity over polish inspired a movement that valued authenticity and aggression above all. Guitarists cite him as a model of how to write memorable riffs that don't sacrifice brutality. His solos, though polarizing, became a defining feature of Slayer's sound, chaotic, cathartic, and unmistakably his. End of an era. Though Slayer continued making music through the 2000s and 2010s, Many fans view the classic period ending with Seasons in the Abyss. King remained the band's backbone through albums like Divine Intervention, God Hates Us All, and Christ Illusion, but the early magic was hard to replicate. In 2013, the metal world was rocked by Jeff Hanneman's death. King carried on, bringing in Exodus guitarist Gary Holt, but the absence of his longtime partner was palpable. Still, King remained fiercely committed to Slayer's legacy until their farewell tour in 2019. What comes next? In 2024, Kerry King launched his long-anticipated solo project, continuing the legacy of pure, unfiltered thrash. The album featured collaborations with prominent metal musicians and showcased King's unrelenting riff mastery. While Slayer may be no more, King's fire still burns. His solo work reaffirms his place not just as a historic figure, but as an active force in modern metal. Kerry King's legacy is etched in blood, sweat, and distortion. As the king of riffs, he helped shape one of the most extreme and enduring genres in music. His dedication to thrash metal, his fearless persona, and his brutal creativity made Slayer what it was, and made him a legend. From the first notes of Show No Mercy to the haunting echoes of Seasons in the Abyss, Kerry King was more than a guitarist. He was a force of nature. Slayer's thrash metal reign may have ended, but the riffs remain immortal and untamed.